Have you ever felt like you are running on a treadmill with your finances? You work long hours and you make the sacrifices. You skip the expensive dinners and you put money away every single month. But when you look at your account balance, it feels like it is barely moving. It is frustrating, and it can make you feel like you are doing everything wrong. But here's the truth that very few people will ever tell you. Building wealth is not a straight line. It is more like a flight of stairs with very long and very flat landings. You spend years walking on those flat parts, feeling like you are getting nowhere. But if you stay the course, you eventually hit a tipping point where everything changes. Wealth does not truly accelerate until you cross three hidden thresholds. Most people quit just inches away from the first one because they cannot see the progress happening beneath the surface. Today, I am going to show you how to survive this quiet phase. I will explain the exact milestones that turn small percentages into real dollars that actually cover your bills. By the end of this video, you will know exactly where you are on the map and how to reach the point where your money finally works harder than you do. Let us begin by talking about why the first stage feels so incredibly slow. Think about a pot of water sitting on a stove. When you turn on the heat, the molecules start moving faster and faster. At 50 degrees, the water looks exactly the same as it did at room temperature. At 80 degrees, it still looks still and calm. Even at 99 degrees, there is no visible change to the naked eye. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening despite all the energy you are pouring into it. But then, you hit 100 degrees Celsius. Suddenly, the water begins to boil, and the system transforms from liquid into powerful steam. Investing works in the exact same way. For a long stretch of time, your progress looks flat, and your efforts feel invisible. This is what we call the boring phase. During this time, your contributions do almost all of the heavy lifting. If you have $10,000 invested and the market grows by 10%, you only gain $1,000. In the real world, $1,000 is helpful, but it does not change your life. It might pay for a car repair or a new appliance, but it does not buy you freedom. This is where the mind games begin. You see the market go up and down, and you feel like you are putting in a mountain of effort for a molehill of results. But you must understand that you are currently building the base of your pyramid. Without a solid base, the peak can never reach the clouds. The first major threshold you must aim for is $100,000. The legendary investor Charlie Munger once said that the first $100,000 is a total nightmare. He was right because this is the point where the math finally starts to matter in your daily life. When you reach $100,000, a 10% return becomes $10,000 a year. That averages out to more than $800 every single month. Think about that for a moment. $800 a month is not just a statistic on a screen. In many cities, that covers a significant portion of a mortgage or a rent payment. It covers the entire grocery bill for a family with room to spare. This is the moment when your money stops being a silent passenger and starts participating in the budget. Getting to this first $100,000 is the hardest thing you will ever do financially. It requires you to squeeze three specific levers at the same time. First, you must increase your savings rate by simplifying your lifestyle. Second, you must lock that difference into an automatic transfer so you never even see the money. And third, you must capture every bit of free money available through employer matches or tax advantages. If you can stay steady and reach this six-figure mark, the game begins to speed up. The second $100,000 will arrive much faster than the first because your money is now helping you push the boulder. This leads us to the second tipping point, which is when your assets begin to pay your bills. This is the first true taste of freedom. Most people think they need to be a multimillionaire before they can feel free, but that is a trap that keeps you feeling stressed for decades. True freedom is built one bill at a time. Imagine a world where your internet bill is paid for the rest of your life, not by your labor, but by your dividends. Then you target your electric bill, and then your water bill. Each expense that is covered by an asset represents an hour of your life that you have bought back. When an asset picks up a cost you used to cover with your paycheck, your salary shifts from survival money to surplus money. This surplus then flows back into your investments, which makes the pile grow even faster. It is a virtuous cycle that creates escape velocity from a lifestyle dependent on a salary. To reach this stage, you should assign specific assets to specific jobs. Label your accounts in your mind. This account pays for the insurance, and that account pays for the food. When you can see the direct link between your investments and your daily life, your motivation will skyrocket. You will stop caring about the latest luxury car or the newest phone because you will realize those things are just anchors holding you back from your next free bill. Finally, we reach the third threshold, which involves using systems and controlled power. This is where your wealth engine stops, depending on your hours, and starts running on its own. Acceleration at this level does not come from working harder. It comes from scaling a machine that works for you 24 hours a day. At this point, your portfolio is large enough that even a modest return can equal or exceed your annual salary. If you have $500,000 and it grows by 10%, you have earned $50,000 without lifting a finger. This is the point where you have officially cloned yourself. You have a second version of you out there working silently and efficiently without the meetings or the stress. This changes your entire relationship with your career. You're no longer trapped by a paycheck. You work because you choose to and not because you have to. The fear of a toxic boss or a sudden layoff disappears because you know your investments have your back. However, you must protect this engine with a simple risk playbook. As you get closer to your goals, the objective shifts from aggressive growth to smart preservation. You maintain cash reserves for the rainy days, and you stay diversified across different sources of income. You do not need to hit home runs anymore. You just need to avoid striking out. I want you to look at the next 30 days as a sprint to install these permanent systems. Start with a deep audit of your current spending. Find 3 recurring expenses that provide low value and cut them today. Move that money immediately into an automatic investment. If you have a retirement match at work that you're not fully using, fix that right now. It is essentially a 100% return on your money the moment you contribute. Draw a simple tracker with 4 rungs for $10,000 and $25,000 and $50,000 and $100,000. Next to each rung, write down the monthly impact that a 10% return would have. Keep this visual reminder where you can see it every day. It will anchor your motivation during the long and boring landings between the stairs. Remember that wealth does not grow in a straight line. It bends upward, and it gets steeper the longer you stay in the game. The first million is slow and grueling, but once you cross that first 100,000, the curve starts to turn in your favor. The second million is waiting for you, and it will arrive much faster than the first if you simply refuse to quit. Stay the course and keep feeding the engine. Your tipping point is closer than it feels. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you at the finish line.